Hello everyone, this is the second video of the series on previous year question papers of postgraduate entrance exams related to biological sciences. Let's continue with the detailed solution of year 2014 question paper of MSc Botany entrance exam conducted by the Delhi University. We will complete the question paper in several videos with each video containing solution of 15 questions. This video will have solution of question number 16 to question number 30. So let's start with the first question of this video. In the amphifloic siphonostele, they have given 4 options in which they are asking about the relative position of phloem or xylem in the amphifloic siphonostele. For this, let's first know that what actually is a stele. So stele is a central part of root or stem, and in the stele there are tissues which are derived from the procambium, for example the vascular tissue, pith and the pericycle. Now siphonostele is a stele with central pith surrounded by vascular tissues. And amphifloic, now this word amphi means both, so if you just know the literal meaning of the word amphi, you can easily take the right answer. That is, the phloem is present on both sides of the xylem. So let's see what is amphifloic siphonostele means. The amphifloic siphonostele is a siphonostele in which the arrangement in which phloem is present on both external and internal to the xylem in a siphonostele. So you can see in the image also that the phloem is present on both internal side of the xylem as well as the outer side of the xylem. So our correct option is B. That is, in amphifloic siphonostele, the phloem is present on the inner as well as outer side of the xylem with central pith. Now next question is, trilocular synangium having fused sporangia, each subtended by bifid leaf, is found in Marsilea, Selaginella, Xylotum or Pteris. So let's see about synangium. Synangium is a spore bearing structure in Xylotum. You can see in the figure, it is a 3-chambered trilocular structure in which 3 sporangia are fused to each other. So our answer to this question will be C, that is, the triloculum synangium having fused sporangia, each subtended by a bifid leaf, is found in Xylotum. Now next question. Spores of Equisetum are unique in the sense that, now they are asking about spores of Equisetum. So let's see how this Equisetum spores look like. They are spherical, they have abundant chloroplast, they have 4 walls, intine, exine, and a cuticular layer having apospore and perispore. The epispore at maturity breaks into 4 ribbon-like bands with tips having spoon-like shape. You can see in the figure on the right hand side, the tips are having there are bands that shows the tips with having spoon-like structure. The ribbons are called elaters and remain bound to spore wall until the sporangium matures. Now elaters are hygroscopic in nature and help in spore dehiscence. So the answer to this question will be first one, that is, the spores of Equisetum are unique in the sense that elaters remain attached to a spore surface and help in dispersal. The following statements is true regarding sporocarp of Marsilea. So let's read a little bit about Marsilea. That Marsilea is heterosporous, that it has both microspore and megaspores, which are present in microsporangia and megasporangia respectively. The sporocarps of Marsilea are specialized bean-shaped globular nut-like oval structure, you can see on the right hand side, which have both of these sporangia, that is both the microsporangia as well as megasporangia. So the answer is option C, that it is globular nut-like structure enclosing microsporangia and megasporangia. Next question is, which of the following features indicate the incidence of seed habit in pteridophytes? Now there are some features that indicate seed habit in pteridophytes, out of which heterospory is one of them, and another one is retention and germination of a female gametophyte within the sporangium till the formation of embryo. In pteridophyte and the plants below that, that is in the bryophyte etc., the retention tendency is not observed and the megaspore is shed early. This is the general condition. But in some pteridophyte, for example Selaginella rupestris, there is the retention of female gametophyte within the sporangium till the formation of embryo. Now this is a characteristic feature for the incidence of seed habit. So our option first one, that is the retention of female gametophyte within the sporangium till the formation of embryo, indicates the incidence of seed habit in pteridophyte, is correct. Of microsporangia in the cone of Pinus is. Now you can see the male cone of Pinus drawn on the left hand side. This is the LS of the male cone of Pinus, and on to the right hand side I have shown a single microsporophyll bearing a microsporangia. So let's read a little bit about it. The male cone is oval with central axis bearing around 60 to 150 microsporophylls. Now a microsporophyle is a stalked structure, you can see on the right hand side. On the tip is the apophysis, which is sterile and more or less triangular in shape. A slit-like structure is present through which the dehiscence of sporangia occur. The slit-like structure you can see in the microsporangia. And each microsporophyll bears two sac-like microsporangia on the abaxial surface. So the answer to this question will be D. That is, the position of microsporangia in the male cone of Pinus is abaxial surface of the sporophyll. Now coming to the next question. In Pinus, the female gametophyte develops from. So let's see the path of female gametophyte development in Pinus. So a single hypodermal cell of the nuclear tissue at the micropylar end gets converted into an archisporial cell. This archisporial cell undergoes periclinal division to form a upper parietal cell and a lower megaspore mother cell. The upper parietal cell, after several mitotic divisions, forms the tapetal layer, while the megaspore mother cell, after a meiotic division, forms a linear tetrad of 4 haploid megaspores, out of which 3 degenerates and the 4th lowermost one will become functional. Now this functional megaspore enlarges and undergoes mitotic divisions to form the female gametophyte. So our option first one, that is in Pinus the female gametophyte develops from the haploid megaspore, is correct. So let's go to the next question. Archegonia are absent in. The options are Ephedra, Netum, Pinus and Cycas. So Archegonium is actually a female reproductive organ in bryophyte and pteridophytes. It also occurs in some gymnosperms, although there it is much reduced and embedded in the megagametophyte. The examples are cycads and conifers. The Archegonium, you can see the figure on the left hand side. The Archegonium is a flask shaped structure having a neck with one or few layer of cells and a bulged, that is a swollen base, which is called as venter, which contains the egg. The neck region have neck canal cells situated above the egg. These cells actually dissolves at maturity and their disappearance forms a passage through which the sperms enters and fertilize with the egg. So Archegonia are absent in the cnidophytes among the gymnosperms. Example Netum and Welwitschia. Here the megagametophyte is reduced to only a few cells, and out of these cells only one develops and differentiate to form the egg cell. So the answer to this question will be that Archegonia are absent in option B, that is Netum. So let's move towards the next question. Which of the following species produces commercial edible seeds? Chilgoza. So the answer will be the first one, that is the Pinus gerardiana. The seeds of Pinus gerardiana are edible and they are called as Chilgoza. Let's see the economic importance of the other three options also. The Pinus roxburghi, it produces brittle solids such as olerosins and gum rosins that are aromatic in nature and are often used in oil paints and printerings as well as cosmetics and soaps. The Ephedra gerardiana yields an alkaloid ephedrine that serve as medicine for cough, cold and allergic fever. Its tincture is used as stimulant in cardiac disease and its rhizome is used as fuel in Tibet. The Cycas revoluta is also known as sago palm. Its pith has high starch content and is used for making starch-rich sago after removal of some harmful toxins from the pith. So let's see the next question. A group that includes a common ancestor and some descendants is called monophyletic, paraphyletic, polyphyletic, or allopatric. So let's deal with the definition of each type. The monophyletic taxon, please refer to this diagram that I have given below while you read the definition. The monophyletic taxon includes most recent common ancestor of a group along with all of its descendants. The paraphyletic taxon includes most recent common ancestor but not all of its descendants. So therefore it is similar to a monophyletic group, just excluding some descendants. Now polyphyletic taxon includes the one that does not include the common ancestor of all the member of the taxon. So the answer to this question will be that a group that includes a common ancestor and some descendants is called as paraphyletic. The fourth option is allopatric. Now allopatric and sympatric are types of speciation. Let's read a little bit about them also. So allopatric and sympatric are two types of speciation. The allopatric speciation means that the population groups are reproductively isolated due to some geographical barriers and hence forming a new species during the course of time, while sympatric speciation shows evolution of new species within a group of population without any geographical barrier. I will be dealing with these allopatric and sympatric speciation in my core lecture notes. So coming to the next question, which of the following patterns of placentation is observed in a bicarpillary syncarpous unilocular ovary becoming bilocular due to the development of a false septum? So there are four types of placentation. Let's deal with each of them one by one. So axile placentation, you can see the figure on the right hand side for reference. In the axile placentation, the placentae located on a central column. The central column partition extends to the ovary wall, thus creating chambers which are called as locules, and this kind of placentation is found in Solanaceae and Malvaceae. Now parietal placentation, in this the ovule develop on the inner side of the bicarpillary syncarpous unilocular ovary or on the peripheral. It is single chambered, but due to the formation of a false septum it becomes chambered. Example, Pepiveraceae. So the answer to our question will be parietal placentation. That is, let's see the basal placentation and superficial placentation also. The basal placentation, in this the placenta emerge directly on the thalamus and have a single ovule at the base of the unilocular ovary. Example, Compositae. You can see the figure on the right hand side. And finally we deal with the superficial placentation. In this type of placentation, the ovules are attached entirely to the inner surface of the ovary. This is also called as laminar placentation. Example of this is Nymphia. You can see the figure on the right hand side. So next question, phylogeny is commonly represented in the form of a phenogram, cladogram, dendrogram, or histogram. So let's deal with the definition of each one of them. So a phenogram is a branching diagrammatic tree used in phonetic classification to illustrate the degree of similarity of characteristics among taxa. You can see the phenogram diagram on the lower side. Now cladogram representation is a representation of the phylogenetic relationship between different groups of organisms to determine the evolutionary relationship between them. So you can see the diagram on the lower hand side. So phenogram, cladogram actually resembles a similar diagram, but the difference is that phenogram depends on the phonetic characteristic that is visible among the taxa, while cladogram is made on the basis of their phylogeny, that is the evolutionary relationships. So the answer to our question will be that phylogeny is commonly represented in the form of a cladogram. So a dendrogram shows the hierarchical classification. It shows the relationships through hierarchy. It is commonly used for hierarchical clustering. You can see this kind of diagram in whenever we see the analogy or homology between the proteins of different species, we make this kind of clustering. Now come the histogram. Now histogram is nothing, just a graphical display of numerical data ranges with different height bar. You can see the figure on the lower hand side. So coming to the next question, pome is a false fruit which develops from a fleshy thalamus. Which of the following is not correct about pome? So let's see directly what actually is a pome fruit. Apple is a very good example. Its botanical name is Meles domestica, and so apple is a pome fruit and it develops from the inferior ovary of the flower. The fruit develops from the floral tube, that is the basal region of the sepals, petals and stamens, and the ovary wall. The floral tube fuses to ovary wall upon maturation. It expands and become ripened and fleshy. So in the first point itself, we have told that the pome fruit develops from the inferior ovary. So which of the following option will not be correct? That is the fourth one. That is the fruit develops from an apocarpus superior ovary. So coming towards the next question, in pitcher plant, that is Nepenthes khasiana, which part is modified to form pitcher? I think most of you will be knowing the answer. So in Nepenthes khasiana, the leaf lamina is modified into pitcher. Nepenthes khasiana is an endangered tropical species of the genus Nepenthes. So the option will be C, that is the leaf lamina is the structure that modifies into pitcher. So let's read a little bit about Nepenthes khasiana. It is the only native Indian Nepenthes species and is found in the Garo and the Khasi hills of Meghalaya. The species khasiana came from the Khasi hills. The Khasi people call it a demon flower and the Garo people call it the basket of devil. We all know that it is an insectivorous plant and it traps and digests insects to fulfill its nitrogen deficiency. Generally, the insectivorous plants grow in the soil which are deficient in nitrogen. So coming towards the last question of this video, in Cyathium, the male flowers are represented by, the options are a single stamen, 2 epipetalous stamens, 4 staminodes, or the numerous spirally arranged stamens. So let's see what actually is a Cyathium inflorescence. You can just relate the whatever I say to the figure on the right hand side. The Cyathium inflorescence is found in the members of family Euphorbiaceae, for example Euphorbia, Pediolenthus, etc. The inflorescence has a cup-shaped involucre with glands that secrete nectar. You can see on the right hand side. The involucre surrounds a single female flower, that is a pistil, which is present on a long stalk in the center, as visible in the figure. The female flower is surrounded by a number of male flowers. The male flower is reduced to a single stalked stamen, as you can see in the figure. So our correct answer will be that in Cyathium, the male flowers are represented by a single stamen. So in the next video, we will be dealing with the question number 31 to question number 45 of this paper. I will be giving you the detailed solution with my explanation. If you have any doubt in the solution, please do comment below. Please like the video and do comment to appreciate my work. And of course, you stay tuned for more upcoming solution videos of various MSc entrance exams related to biological sciences.